Let us finish this session today in few minutes, once and forever. Are you ready? Anesthesia says, I'm ready. She is always in a hurry. But now she has calmed down. No. So say yes or no. Do you want to know your real self? Do you want to know your real self?
Yes.
In a Capitol Hill, when the voting is there, yay, nay. Do you want to know your real self? Yes. Yay.
Yay.
Very good. Are you sure you want to know your real self? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Next question. Who wants to know real self? I. Very good. You cannot say he because it's your problem. So who wants to know real self? I. Next question. Are real self or I is one or two? If they are one, you have already found it. And if they are two, you will never find out. Because we cannot be two. Did you understand? Let me repeat it in a different, same way. Do you want to know real self? Yes. I want to know. That's why I've joined you. That's why I'm tolerating you for so many years. Very good. So now ask the next question. Who wants to know the real self? I. So there is one I and there is a real self. Are they two or one? If they are one, you have already found it. Why you are attending a session? And if they are two, it can never be two. Because you cannot be two. There is only one I. This is the puzzle solved by this master. And it is so near to us. It is here and now. Knowledge of the self is not matter because we are conscious being. So you talk about, the science talks about what they talk. They talk about neuroplasticity, epigenetics, and what else? Neurogenesis. It pertains to the matter. How that can help you to know what meditation is. They can never know. But they will, it's a sign of progress. They complement in understanding what exactly is meditation and what exactly is the real self. They may be approaching very near, but as long as they will continue to work on the matter, they cannot find it. Meditation means I am real self. Mindfulness means I am real self. ECB, existence, consciousness, bliss. We are studying from the Panchadashi, one of the great geniuses we have long back, I think around 13th and 14th century. Only problem is the subjective reality cannot be known by the objective instruments. The mind cannot know it, sense organs cannot know it, the brain cannot know it. The real self can only be known by the real self. The mind comes in between. And because the mind comes in between, that is why it creates a puzzle, it creates a problem. So today we are starting a journey on the chapter 6. I skipped a lot of verses uh, from the chapter 1, then 5 chapters I have skipped. Why? Because that demands an intensive retreat. I will tell you why. I'm answering that question also because minimum maybe 3 to 4 hours, maybe 6 hours, 7 hours in a break. We should sit, we should listen to this master who has written the text, and one after the other, we understand and ultimately we reach to the real self or we realize the real self. Why I said so? Because this master presents a model of knowledge. What is the model of atomic structure? What is the model of product management? So there is always a model. You can put these models into a picture, into an infographic. Physically, you can put these are the physical things. But when we are talking of the model of knowledge, I'm not talking of model of Miss Universe, model of knowledge. And the model of knowledge has to be here. Sam looks very happy when I say Miss Universe here. It's a model of knowledge. So that is why we need an intensive. We continue 6 hours, 7 hours, maybe 3, 4 days. We pick up the one chapter and we cover that model of knowledge. We have a model for I have to build a skyscraper model. I have to build a house. There is a model of the house. Everything, even you want to produce a manufacture a smartphone, there is a model. So it's basically a physical model. The physical model in Eastern wisdom may point out, but it does not work fully. So that is why the teacher is required to explain it. For example, you say real self is at the center, causal body, innermost, then the subtle body, you create a circle, and then the physical body. That is what we are doing in Mondays and Thursdays session. So, what appears from the model as if the real self is inside the physical, subtle, and the causal body. But the fact is, all the three bodies are present inside the real self. And that causes a lot of confusion. You have seen a lot of yoga teachers, they talk about it, 5 sheets, 3 bodies. Oh, here it is. So as if the real self is inside them. No, it is just the opposite. That is why I left those chapters, and we are on the chapter number 6 that talks about consciousness, pure consciousness, real self directly. So we will pick up. Ashok, you are feeling headache? Yeah, listening to this, also. No, no headache. You have put your hand on the head. Whatever the teacher talks in the Eastern wisdom, they talk only of the model of knowledge. Why? Because we have an ignorance. It cannot be put into the material, physical level. Though, even though we point out. One more example. Have you seen the globe? On the globe, you say, here is my country. Is there a country on the globe? It's a pointer. It's only a pointer. Remember this. So Ashok, when you say, here is my honey, I know both of them. They have been my students. So she is not your honey, she is a girl first. Do you see the difference between the ignorance and the knowledge? You have to go a little deeply, deeply, deeply. So having laid the ground, now we will start understanding the very first chapter. I'm just introducing. Let us analyze what we see, what we know, how we know. I'm still focused on the same. Do you want to know yourself? Yay. Who wants to know the real self? I. Is I or the real self different or the same? If same, you need not to search, you have found it. If no, there cannot be two I. Huh? Does anyone say Sam number 1 is talking to Stephen? Sam number 2 will talking to David. Only one Sam. So do you see the ignorance? So we are understanding that ignorance. How we see, what we know, how we know. So when we answer these 3 questions clearly, here and now, without any practice, we can be in the state of meditation. We perceive objects in the people. It is perception. It is known as perception, cognition, and the knowledge. You can use different words. Perception, cognition, knowledge. Every perception may or may not include projection. Stephen and Sam are 2 people. Now see the projection, Stephen is uncle, projection, Sam is nephew. Then another projection, likes and dislikes. Then another projection that converts into an action, and that puts me into the ignorance. I forget and then I ask, do I want to know the real self? Help me. Projection creates variety. Even though Stephen and the Sam are human beings, our perception and projection have separated them as 2 individuals. Are you getting it? Are you with me? Our perception is neutral, but projection creates variety in the mind, not in the real self. Are you getting an answer? Do you want to know your real self? Yes. Who wants to know the real self? I. So I'm answering that question. Our perception is neutral, but projection creates variety in the mind. Variety moves to likes and dislikes, then attachment and detachment, and then desire, then delusion, then hesitation. Then we become a pleasure seeker, and the pleasure seeker is always running outside in the world. We forget our real self. Then we ask, I want to know my real self. Did I speak fast? And that is what we call, because we have variety of experiences. Life becomes a series of experiences of pleasure and pain, profit and loss, victory and defeat. We are already into the ignorance. And then again I ask, I want to know my real self, where it is. Where you are, there is the real self. But behind the physical body, subtle body, and causal. Where are you? Or I'm sitting at your home. No, it's your physical body. Don't tell me. Where are you sitting? So I'm laying a foundation, introduction. I have yet to pick up. Next week, I'll pick up each verse. So we lose awareness of perception and get absorbed in the projection. Projection is present in the mind that is asking a question. I want to know my real self. No worries if you do not understand. I'm here next Saturday. It's better that you do not understand so that my profession continues. Otherwise, who will care me? You see, we get excited to see Miss Universe, but behind that projection of a Miss Universe, there is only a girl. Oh, are you excited to meet Bill Gates? Bill Gates is also a human being. Come on. Are you getting it? No, I'm not undermining his importance. I'm not undermining the importance of Miss Universe. Thanks to that girl that she was chosen as a Miss Universe. But internally, I should live in the right perception all the time. Outside, let me praise, let me appreciate. Projection creates a variety, variety creates a journey of the likes and dislikes, and good and bad, victory and defeat, profit and loss, and we are caught with it. We are caught in the forest of ignorance. And that is why we ask a question. Help me to realize my real self. No other way to know the world except by projection, and no other way to know the real self by removing the projection. Projection comes from the mind. What is that projection? I gave an example. I see my main door and there is a sun is coming from there. So you put the mirror, the sunlight is reflected into my room inside. That reflection is projection. Two things. Mirror. Where is that mirror is the mind. and the sunlight that I see inside due to the mirror is a reflection. Are you getting it? No, no, I'm getting it. No worries, you just keep speaking. And what is the sun? Sun is the real self. Anesthesia, I'm giving answer to your lot of questions that you ask. Can't keep asking the question. Sun is the real self that expresses through the mind in me, asking a question. I want to know the real self. Reflection and the mind. When the projection is not there, the mind enters into the silence, emptiness, and then we are there already. Then what happens? My master used to say that when you will discover the real self in you, you cannot speak. You are fully aware inside. Because the moment you speak, it will be a projection and reflection. So you do not answer, have you found it? Socrates said, those who claim who know it, they don't know it. Have you heard that? Those who do not say, when you ask a question, have you found it? They keep silence. They have found it. The moment you express, it becomes a projection. It becomes a reflection. Now, this master lays down his explanation in the middle of the chapter 6, but I'm picking up now. What is the difference between the consciousness of a Sam and consciousness of Stephen? What is the difference between the consciousness of a sound going through the ears and the consciousness of the eyes? Is there any difference? Consciousness inside, there is no difference. Through the mind, when it manifests through the five sense organs, we get the variety. We have not to go to the variety. We have to find that consciousness from where it originates. What is the difference between the consciousness of a Jerry, consciousness of David? No difference. What is the difference between the consciousness of a father and consciousness of a son? Inside, you're going to the ultimate cause. There is no difference. It is only one. It cannot be broken. It cannot be divided. That consciousness is I am. That is the real self. That is the real self. This master blew my mind. My master used to give lessons 5 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon, another 4 hours in the evening. Remember, model of knowledge. Here only. Model of knowledge is not outside. When your mind instantly stops at the question, you are angry over me. Consciousness of that angry man and the consciousness here is the same. So when you realize that, then you are indifferent. Indifferent is not you are sad and you are frustrated that you don't want to say anything. Are you getting it? That is the indifference. That is kindness. That is compassion. Behind all the five sense organs, there is only one consciousness. Behind every human being, there is only one consciousness. Behind all relationship, there is only one consciousness. Behind all the colors, one. Behind all the sound, one. Behind all the sound and the shape is one. So through the mind, eyes and the ears knows the difference between the sound and the shape and the color. But behind it, there is only one consciousness. You want to know yourself? Yes. Who wants to know yourself? Step back, go behind, find out. You are already here and now. You have found it. This is what the master is saying. You have already found it. Because the mind lives in projection, it wants to know the real self. Will that projection? It is not possible. Where is that projection? I told you the mirror reflected the light in my room on the wall, and then I start searching the horizon of light in the sun on the wall. I will never find it. Will I find it? That's why you don't find a husband, you find a man. But you project a person as a husband, so the problem begins. You do not find a wife, you project your wife there. That's why you have a problem. You don't have a problem with a man and a woman. You have a problem with husband and a wife. This is you have a problem with a fiancé and beloved. You don't have a problem with a man and women. That is why other people, when they meet your husband and wife, they say, I don't know that, why this guy or a girl, is complaining, They are so wonderful. Look at it. Have you, you might have experienced. Well, it's the same thing, father, son, relationship. That projection must go. Who does this? Mind. What we say, impurity of the mind, illusion in the mind, ignorance. There is one consciousness that expresses itself in five sense organs of touch, of shape, of smell, of sound. It is one consciousness that is projected as different people, gender, color, relations. See that? I thought this is a very simple. We need not to go to different models of knowledge to explain. So I said, better to start with and skip all those. We'll continue with the chapter 6. We'll pick up the verse, close your eyes. Eyes are closed, yes.